Hello, my name's Duncan, and welcome to Back Over and Talking About Books. And hello to Ruby here, little Moni Pomeranian. Hey, as we call her, the emotional support pom. Hello. Anyway, I'm here to do a tag for you because it's Tag Tuesday, and I was tagged by my partner in crime, Al from Big Al Does BookTube, who appears along with me in the podcasty thing. If you don't know, go and check it out. But this is the, what it's called, off the top of my head tag. I'm going to have to put little rubies down. Okay. The ruby the pom. And we are going to get on with this. I've got a notes here. And this is the off the top of my head tag. And it was originally done apparently by Gina at the Library Mouse. So I'll link her below and I'll link Al and everybody. So this is just quite an interesting tag. And as I've not done one for a while, I've got a backlog of tags that people have tagged me in. So if you have, I will get around to them eventually. So, the first picture. What was your favourite picture book as a child? It's quite a difficult one because I can't actually remember. I've got a story. When I was probably about 4 or 5, my grandmother, who we lived with at the time, she was in her 70s and she used to go to a chiropodist, somebody who does feet. And so she used to take me along because she was looking after me. And she used to give me a choice. She used to say, you can either have some sweets or a book. And I used to always go for the book. Because she used to get me these little picture books, which I had no idea what they were. But I just got fond memories of that. I think she used to always get me sweets as well. But who knows. So yes, so that's story. That's from the picture books. So I can't really remember any sort of big ones there. So the second one is, what series did you love as a child? I'm going to bring this one up again. I don't think you may not have seen this singular book. It's Dragonfall 5 series by Brian Earnshaw. And the Dragonfall 5 series, I discovered it in our primary school's library. And I've been, past few years, I've been trying to pick up ones. I got a paperback copy of this one, but this one I picked up not long ago. And this was Dragonfall 5 and the Space Cowboys. And this is actually in the hardback version I remember from my school. Not read this yet, which I'm going to, and I'll talk about it at some point. But these were great. They've got all these pictures. But it's a space-going family. When everybody else is using matter transmission and teleportation, they're still using their spaceship. And they have a dog with big ears that flies. What do you want? And the artwork in these is great. I can't remember who did the artwork off the top of my head. Simon Stern, who did quite a few bits of stuff. So I'm probably going to review this again soon. But yeah. So that's one I picked up recently. But yes, Dragonfall 5 ones. I loved it. And I said I reread one I picked up a while ago, a paperback version. And that was really fun reading. It's really obviously aimed at children. And it's nice to go back to these memories and not to disappoint. Next one is question number 3. The worst book you have read or tried to read. I don't like pigeonholing books as bad and good. But I'll tell you one that hate is a strong word. World War Z by Max, I can't remember his surname. All the hype about it, and I like myself a good little zombie story. But I really, really disliked that book a lot. And luckily I hadn't brought a physical version of it. One of a few books I brought on Kindles and it was really, really cheap, so it didn't feel like I'd waste my money. But it was a bad book, I'm sorry. But yeah. Favourite reading or book memory? Okay, I've got 2. I mentioned this before. On a few westerns I've read, it's a book called Broken Lance by Frank Gruber. And I managed last year to find a copy of it with the original cover. And I remember being on holiday with my dad on the south coast, New Milton, if anybody knows where it is, in a caravan. And I remember in the place we were staying, they had a library of books, and in there was that book, Broken Lance. And that book always stuck into my mind. And I've just got this memory of reading that there. And I said, I managed to get hold of a copy last year. And I've actually reread it. I read it, and I really, really enjoyed it. It's a really, really good book. I'm not particularly into westerns, but that was a great book. So that one. And the other memory I've got is a very weird one of going for a day out on the beach reading this book. I was lying on the beach in the hot sun reading, World War Three. This was a novelisation of a mini-series called World War Three, which starred David Soul, him of Starsky and Hutch fame. And I think, did it have Rock Hudson in it? May have Rock Hudson, or could it be somebody else? I could be dreaming. But it was basically about, you got to remember, this is at the back end of the Cold War. So at the time, we thought we were all going to die in a nuclear explosion. Sorry, we did. We thought at one point somebody was going to start something like this. And this was about some Russians invading Alaska and then taking over the pipeline. And it was a miniseries I have a copy of now. It took me a while to find it. I've not rewatched it since, but this is the book of it. And I have fond memories, weirdly fond memories, of reading this lying on a beach. And I would have probably been about 14, 15 at the time. But yeah, weird fond memories. Okay. A book you loved as a movie. I'm going to give you two here. Contact, Carl Sagan. Film is stunning, book is stunning, and that's great. And the other one I'm going to pick, I was trying to pick ones that I wouldn't normally pick, this is a loose adaptation, very loose adaptation. It's Mallory's Le Morte d'Arthur, sorry for my poor French pronunciation, which ended up as Excalibur, John Borman's fantastic retelling of the Arthurian epic, and lots of shiny armour, and it's got Patrick Stewart in it, Liam Neeson in it, and it's a great, great film. And if you have never seen it, go and see it. It's probably the best King Arthur film. But it is very loosely based on this original work. I feel like I'm speeding through these quite quickly. But if you think I'm going too fast, I apologise. So, a book you wish they would make into a movie? I'd say none. I'd like people to leave them alone and do original stuff. Because, yes, sometimes the adaptations can be good, but so often they are god awful. You know, when they have some wonderful material and they just do weird stuff with it and forget about it. But yes, I'd like them to leave them alone and just do their own fresh stuff. Okay, a book character you would like as a friend. Okay, I always find these questions a bit weird. But the first one that came to my mind was Slippery Jim de Greers, the stainless steel rat. Hey, I think he'd betray you and do God knows what to you, but it'll be fun. And that's Harry. If you don't know, Harry Harrison's character, the stainless steel rat. A place you want to visit because of a book you read. Okay, this is a place and a time I'd like to go. This is Eastern Europe in the 80s and the 90s. There was a travel writer cyclist called Josie Dew, and she rode around America and lots of places, but she did Eastern Europe, just about after the Berlin Wall had come down, and she cycled around a lot of it, and her books, which I do not have copies of anymore, really, really inspired me. And they inspired me so much, I went and cycled around Southern Europe for, how long was I gone? About 9-10 months. I cycled around Southern Europe, but I really wish I'd done Eastern Europe around the same time, because reading that book is what sort of inspired me to do that. I sort of went around Southern Europe, worked my way around, and it was a fantastic time. I've got some photos I might have to show you at some time. But yeah, I met lots of interesting people, and if people want to do it now, it is a lot more difficult because of Brexit, but I won't say that. But yes, that book that sort of inspired me and made me want to be in places. But yes, I'd like to go and visit them in that time, just after the walls were coming down. I did end up in Albania once, and that was just after they just had a revolution. I went to Corfu. This is me going off on a tangent. I went to Corfu on a holiday by myself with my mountain bike because I had some spare time I had to use up from work. And I ended up on Corfu, and there was all these people partying, which wasn't really my thing. So I was cycling around the whole of Corfu just as a training thing for some racing I was doing. And they had a day trip to go to... It wasn't a day trip, yeah. A boat going across to Albania. And I said, oh, I'd love to go. So I went across to Albania. And I ended up missing the boat on the way back. And it was a very weird place. They had a market that all it seemed to sell was light bulbs, which was really strange. I ended up staying in a little sort of hotel bed and breakfast place, eating some weird soup. one of my dying memories, and I've got a photo of it somewhere. I need to dig it out. Is he wandered through this park, and it's all overgrown, and then you come up, and there's this huge, huge statue of Lenin, biggest statue you've ever seen in your life. I've got some photos of it, but my problem was getting back to Corfu. It was a real nightmare because I kept going to these boats and say, when are you going back? And they say, oh, in an hour. And you go back an hour later and the boat wouldn't be there or it'd gone and stuff like that. But yes, that was my weird trips to Albania. Oh, and Albanian. Their biggest hero at the time was Norman Wisdom. If you don't know who Norman Wisdom is, look him up. And that was because his comedy in the communist times got through because it wasn't political or anything else. And so they were huge Norman Wisdom fans. So, yeah, so that's a big rambly weirdness for you. Let's go on to the next question. A non-fiction book you would recommend. This one, which I've never heard anybody else speak about. Lonely Hearts of the Cosmos. Dennis Overby. This I got when it came out, which would have been in 19... I'll tell you what year it came out. I remember seeing it in Waterstones in Bath and picking it up. 91. And this is like a history of cosmology from Hubble forwards, and it's just a great book if you got that's all interesting. Don't know whether it's still in print, but if it's not in print, go and find a copy. It is if you're really interested. I'm gonna probably reread that in the next couple of years, and where's my plan? But I've got so many other things that I want to reread. That's all by the by. But yes, that one. And then if you could hang out with Awful Day, who would you pick and why? I'm afraid this is dead white writers thing. I would pick two. One would be Harlan Ellison, which I think would be challenging and may not be the most pleasant experience. It could be interesting because Harlan Ellison was, yes, quite abrasive at points, but would be very interesting. And my other one would be Harry Harrison. I said the aforementioned writer of the Stainless Steel because his life story is very interesting. He served in the army. He was a artist, which is what I like to think of myself as sometimes. He was a cartoonist and he was a writer, and apparently he was incredibly interesting. So yes, that would be my sort of two I would do. Yes, and that was the final question. Question number 10 that was. So, am I going to tag anybody? If I tag, I'm going to tag it below because I can't think of anybody off the top of my head. I'll tag Annie at Obscure Book Adventures and Gavin at Genre Books because I don't think they've tagged me in this, and anybody else I think of at the time, but there might be a couple of tags down the bottom. But anyway, hope you enjoyed that, and I will speak to you all very soon, and bye for now.